There is one word men over 60 say almost every single day, and the woman across from them quietly decides in that very moment that she will never look at him the same way again. She will not correct him. She will not argue. She will not even mention it, but something inside her closes, and most men spend the rest of their lives wondering what went wrong without ever hearing the truth. If you want to know what that word is, and the reason women your age finally feel ready to talk about it, stay with me until the end and consider subscribing, because what you are about to hear will change the way you speak for the rest of your life. I want you to picture a woman named Margaret. She is 64 years old, twice married, once widowed, and she sits across from a man she has known for 40 years, a man she once thought she might love, and she is listening to him talk about his back, his pension, his children who never call, and the weather in Phoenix where his sister lives. She is nodding. She is smiling at the right moments. She is even laughing softly when he tells the same joke he has told her 3 times before, and then he says the word. He says it the way a man says something he has said 10,000 times without ever once thinking about it. He says it casually, almost like a sigh, almost like a habit he picked up from his father and never bothered to question. And in that single second, Margaret feels something inside her chest go very quiet. She does not flinch. She does not look away. She finishes her coffee. She pays for her own breakfast, even though he offered. And she drives home, and she does not call him again. She does not block his number. She does not write him a long letter explaining why. She simply lets the silence do the work that words could not. And the man, when he finally realizes she is gone, will spend weeks asking his friends, asking his daughter, asking the mirror what he could have possibly done wrong. He will replay every conversation, every gesture, every quiet moment, and he will never, not once, land on the word that closed the door. He will blame her age. He will blame her mood. He will blame the world for changing. He will say women today are too sensitive, too cold, too quick to walk away, and he will be wrong about all of it. The word he said is the same word that ended his first marriage, and the same word that pushed his daughter to call less and less, and the same word that made the woman at the bookstore stop smiling when he walked in on Sunday mornings. And now I am going to tell you what that word is, and I am going to tell you why it lands the way it lands, and I am going to tell you what to say instead. Because if you are a man over 60 and you want to be the kind of man a woman chooses to spend her remaining good years with, you cannot afford to keep saying it. The word is just a small word, a throwaway word, a word so common that you do not even notice it leaving your mouth, but it is the word men reach for when they want to soften something. They do not actually want to soften when a woman tells you about her day, and you say, I was just trying to help, when she tells you something that hurt her, and you say, I was just kidding, when she shares a dream she has held for 20 years, and you say it is just a thought. Why do you take everything so seriously when she opens a part of herself she has never opened to anyone, and you say it is just life? Everyone deals with worse, just as the word men reach for when they do not want to take full responsibility for what they actually said. It is the word that turns a real moment into a small one. It is the word that takes a woman who is finally, after a lifetime of being talked over, trying to say something true, and tells her that what she said was nothing. A woman over 60 has heard that word her entire life. She heard it from her father when he dismissed her first heartbreak. She heard it from her teachers when they told her she was just being emotional. She heard it from her husband when he said he was just blowing off steam. She heard it from her boss when he said it was just a joke. She heard it from her sons when they said she was just overreacting. And by the time she is sitting across from you, 64 years old, having buried friends, having survived things you will never know about, having raised children and rebuilt herself more times than she can count, she has decided very quietly and very privately that she will not spend her last good decades with another man who says just she will not explain this to you. She will not give you a chance to defend yourself. She will simply stop calling, stop laughing at the right moments, stop showing up at the door. The cruelest part is that you probably do not mean any harm when you say it. You learned it from a generation of men who were taught that softening a statement made them seem reasonable. You learned it as a way to conflict, to keep things light, to not seem too intense, but what felt like politeness to you feels like erasure to her, and she is too tired at this point in her life to teach you the difference. She has spent 60 years teaching men, and she has done so. Here is what you do instead. You drop the word. You let your sentences stand on their own when she tells you something that matters. You do not say, I was just trying. You say, I was trying. When she shares a feeling, you do not say it is just hard. Sometimes you say it is hard. And I hear you when she opens up to you about her fear of growing older alone. You do not say it is just a phase. Say, I understand and I am here. When she tells you she misses her late husband, you do not say it has just been a long time now. You say, tell me about him. You let her words stay the size she meant them to be. You stand inside what you said. You let it mean what it means. A woman over 60 does not need a man who agrees with her on everything. She does not need a man who fixes her every problem. She does not need a man who is louder, smarter, or richer than the men who came before. She needs a man who can hear her without flinching, without softening, without escaping into a small word that lets him off the hook. A man who can sit inside the weight of what she said and not shrink at. The man who can do that at this age is rarer than gold, and the woman who finds him does not let him go. So tonight, when you talk to a woman, any woman, your wife, your sister, your daughter, the woman who pours your coffee at the diner you have been going to for 30 years, listen to yourself. Count how many times you reach for that word. Count how many times you make her feelings smaller, her thoughts lighter, her experience less than what it really is, and then stop, because it is never just anything when she opens her mouth to tell you something true. What she is offering you is a piece of her life, and you do not get to call a piece of someone else's life small. Margaret found that man eventually. He was 71, retired carpenter, and he listened to her talk about her dead husband for 2 hours on their first walk together, and he never once said the word just. He said, I am sorry. He said, tell me more. He said, that sounds like it broke something in you. When she got home, she sat in her car in the driveway and she cried, not because she was sad, but because for the first time in 40 years, a man had let her words stay the exact size she meant them to be. If something I said today landed somewhere inside you, if you recognized yourself, your father, or the man you are afraid of becoming, do not let this video be another thing you watched and forgot. Subscribe to this channel, because every single week I am going to tell you something the people in your life have wanted to say for years and could not. Share this video with the man who needs to hear it, even if you fear he will be offended, because deep down he already knows something is wrong. In the comments, tell me one word that closed a door for you, one word you wish someone had stopped saying. I read every comment, and I will see you in the next one.